I am Ra. I greet you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. We communicate now. Question 99.1. Questioner, would you please give me the condition of the instrument? Answer, I am Ra. This instrument's physical deficit continues but has the potential for the lessening due to the removal in your probable future of foodstuffs to which the instrument has significant allergy. The vital energy levels are somewhat lessened in the last asking but remain strong. The change in the mental emotional energy level is towards the distortion of the weakening of this complex. Question 99.2. Questioner, what are the foodstuffs that are creating this allergic reaction? Answer, I am Ra. That which you call the buttermilk, though appropriately used in the healing work undertaken for the throat and chest areas, is the substance to which the entity has allergy. Question 99.3. Questioner, the instrument asked if she could keep the small gold cross on while she is in one of these sessions. Will that cause any distortion in these workings? Answer, I am Ra. We scan the mental distortions of the instrument. Although the presence of the metallic substance is, in general, not recommended in this instance, as we find those distortions weakening the mental-emotional complex of the instrument due to its empathic distortions, the figure is specifically recommended for use by this instrument. We would request that should any strengthening be done to the chain, as we find it intended by this instrument, the strengthening links which symbolize eternity to this instrument be as high in purity or higher than the remainder of the device. In this nexus, that which this device represents to this instrument is a much-needed strengthener of the mental-emotional patterns which have been much disrupted from the usual configuration of distortions. Question 99.4. Questioner, is there anything further that needs to be done by or for the instrument to remove the magical working, or any of its after-effects in her throat area by our fifth density, negative companion? Answer, I am Ra. No. Question 99.5. Questioner, finally, I have a question from Jim stating, for the last 2 weeks I have often found myself on the edge of anger and frustration, have had a nearly constant dull pain in the area of my indigo ray center, and have felt quite drained of energy. Would Ra comment on the source of these experiences and any thoughts or actions that might alleviate them? Answer, I am Ra. As in all distortions, the source is the limit of the viewpoint. We may, without serious infringement, suggest 3 courses of behavior which shall operate upon the distortion expressed. Firstly, it would be well for the scribe to engage, if not daily then as nearly so as possible, in a solitary strenuous activity which brings this entity to the true physical weariness. Further, although any activity may suffice, an activity chosen for its intended service to the harmony of the group would be quite efficacious. The second activity is some of your space-time and time-space taken by the entity directly or as nearly so as possible to the strenuous activity, for solitary contemplation. Thirdly, the enthusiastic pursuit of the balancing and silent meditations cannot be deleted from the list of helpful activities for this entity. We may note that the great forte of the scribe is summed in the inadequate sound vibration complex, power. The flow of power, just as the flow of love or wisdom, is enabled not by the cherry asterisk conserver of its use but by the constant user. The physical manifestation of power being either constructive or destructive strenuous activity, the power field entity must needs exercise that manifestation. This entity experiences a distortion in the direction of an excess of stored energy. It is well to know the self and to guard and use those attributes which the self has provided for its learning and its service. Asterisk cherry, cautious, careful, wary, fastidious, particular, sparing, frugal, stingy. Question 99.6. Questioner, we now have an additional set of tarot images. Which of these 2 sets are closer to Ra's original intention? Answer, I am Ra. The principle which moves in accordance with the dynamics of teach learning with most efficiency is constancy. We could explore the archetypical mind using that set of images produced by the one known as Fathman, or we could use those which have been used. In point of fact, those which are being used have some subtleties which enrich the questioning. As we have said, this set of images is not that which we gave. This is not material. We could use any of a multitude of devised tarot sets. Although this must be at the discretion of the questioner, we suggest the maintaining of one and only one set of distorted images to be used for the querying, and note that the images you now use are good. Question 99.7. Questioner: the wings above card 5, I am guessing, have to do with the protection over the significator of the mind. I am guessing that they are a symbol of protection. Is this in any way correct? Answer: I am Ra. Let us say that you are not incorrect, but rather less than correct. The significator owns a covenant with the spirit, which it shall in some cases manifest through the thought and action of the adept. If there is protection in a promise, then you have chosen the correct sound vibration, for the outstretched wings of spirit high above manifestation, yet draw the caged mind onward. Question 99.8. Questioner: thank you. In card number 6 I see the transformation of the mind, the male with crossed arms, representing transformation. The transformation is possible either toward the left or the right-hand path. The path is beckoned or led by the female, the potentiator. The one on the right has the serpent of wisdom at the brow and is fully clothed, the one on the left having less clothing and indicating that the potentiator is more concerned or attracted to the physical as the left-hand path is chosen, and more concerned and attracted to the mental as the right-hand path is chosen. The creature above points an arrow at the left-hand path, indicating that if this path is chosen, the chips, shall we say, will fall where they may, the path being unprotected as far as the activity of catalyst. The intellectual abilities of the chooser of the left-hand path would be the main guardian rather than the designed or built-in protection of the logos for the right-hand path. The entity firing the arrow seems to be a second density entity, which indicates that this catalyst could be produced by a lesser evolved source, you might say. Would Ra comment on these observations? Answer: I am Ra. We shall speak upon several aspects seriatim. Firstly, let us examine the crossed arms of the male who is to be transformed. What, O student, do you make of the crossing? What see you in this tangle? There is a creative point to be found in this element which was not discussed overmuch by the questioner. Let us now observe the evaluation of the two females. The observation that to the left-hand path moves the roughly physical and to the right-hand path the mental has a shallow correctness. There are deeper observations to be made concerning the relationship of the great sea of the unconscious mind to the conscious mind, which may fruitfully be pursued. Remember, O student, that these images are not literal. They haunt rather than explicate. Many use the trunk and roots of mind as if that portion of mind were a badly used, prostituted entity. Then this entity gains from this great storehouse that which is rough, prostituted, and without great virtue. Those who turn to the deep mind, seeing it in the guise of the maiden, go forth to court it. The courtship has nothing of plunder in its semblance and may be protracted, yet the treasure gained by such careful courtship is great. The right-hand and left-hand transformations of the mind may be seen to differ by the attitude of the conscious mind towards its own resources as well as the resources of other selves. We now speak of that genie, or elemental, or mythic figure, culturally determined, which sends the arrow to the left-hand transformation. This arrow is not the arrow which kills, but rather that which, in its own way, protects. Those who choose separation, that being the quality most indicative of the left-hand path, are protected from other selves by a strength and sharpness equivalent to the degree of transformation which the mind has experienced in the negative sense. Those upon the right-hand path have no such protection against other selves, for upon that path the doughty seeker shall find many mirrors for reflection in each other self it encounters. Question 99.9. Questioner: in the previous session you mentioned the use of the 45-minute interval of the tape recorders as a signal for the end of the session. Is this still the appropriate time? Answer: I am Ra. This is, of course, at the discretion of the questioner, for this instrument has some transferred energy and remains open as it has unfailingly done. However, the fragility of the instrument has been more and more appreciated by us. We, in the initial observations, saw the strength of will and overestimated greatly the recuperative abilities of the physical complex of this entity. Therefore, we may say that ending a working at approximately this amount of energy expenditure, that as some point soon following upon the sound vibration of which you speak, would be appropriate and, insofar as we may determine, may well extend the incarnational amount of your space-time which this instrument shall be able to offer to this contact. Question 99.10. Questioner, in that case I will just ask this short question as we terminate this session. I want to know if the logos of this system planned for the mating process as possibly depicted in card 6. I don't know if this is related to some type of DNA imprinting. In many second-density creatures there seems to be some sort of imprinting that creates a lifetime mating relationship, and I was wondering if this was also carried into third density. Answer: I am Ra. There are some of your second-density fauna which have instinctually imprinted monogamous mating processes. The third-density physical vehicle, which is the basic incarnational tool of manifestation upon your planet, aroused from entities thusly imprinted, or the aforesaid being designed by the logos. The free will of third-density entities is far stronger than the rather mild carryover from second-density DNA encoding, and it is not part of the conscious nature of many of your mind, body, spirit complexes to be monogamous due to the exercise of free will. However, as has been noted, there are many signposts in the deep mind indicating to the alert adept the more efficient use of catalyst. As we have said, the logos of your peoples has a bias towards kindness. Question 99.11. Questioner, thank you. In closing, I would ask if there is anything that we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or to improve the contact. Answer: I am Ra. We note the relative discomfort of this group at this space-time and offer those previous statements made by Ra as possible aids to the regaining of the extraordinary harmony which this group has the capability of experiencing in a stable manner. We find the addition of the swirling waters to be helpful. The appurtenances are conscientiously aligned. We encourage the conscious strengthening of those invisible ribands which fly from the wrists of those who go forward to seek what you may call the Grail. All is well, my friends. We leave you in hopes that each may find true colors to fly in that great metaphysical quest, and urge each to urge each other in love, praise, and thanksgiving. I am Ra. We leave you in the love and light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth rejoicing in the power and in the peace of the one glorious infinite Creator. Adonai.